Okay, so you're installing an Intel CPU. Intel CPUs don't have any pins underneath the chip, so it's easier to install. Instead, the pins are located in the motherboard socket, just like the new AM5 platform from AMD. You have two options here. You can either install the CPU how it is directly onto the motherboard socket, or you can use a contact frame, which helps improve the contact between the cooler and the CPU, which will lower your CPU temps. Either way, I'll show you guys how to do both. To install the CPU normally, take the CPU out of its plastic cover, making sure not to touch the top or bottom of the CPU. Handle it very carefully from the sides only. Locate the tiny triangle in the corner of the CPU. After that, go ahead and locate the other small triangle on the corner of the motherboard socket because that will determine how we install the CPU. The same triangle can be found etched onto the motherboard's PCB. After locating both triangles, align the CPU so that both triangles are in the same direction. Using your other hand, press down on the latch next to the socket to release the tension and flip over the cover. Begin to gently lower the CPU onto the socket and watch it fall in place. Whatever you do, do not apply any force as you can damage the pins underneath. After that, you can gently tap it from the side just to make sure that it's fully seated. You can easily tell by looking at it from the side, and you can also tell if the CPU is fully seated by the notches on the CPU itself. Afterwards, slowly lower the latch and feed it underneath the hook to lock the CPU in place. It's okay if it feels a little stiff. That's completely normal. Don't freak out. The black plastic cover will also pop right off, but if it doesn't, simply remove it from. Installing a retention bracket will help with lowering your CPU temps, but it might void your warranty, so proceed with caution. Contact frames exist for both AM5 and LGA 1700 sockets, but I'll show you guys the Intel version since we are installing an Intel CPU right now. The contact frame always comes with a tool which is needed to remove the 4 screws holding down the retention bracket on your motherboard. So use the tool and gently loosen all 4 of the screws until you can lift and remove the stock retention bracket. After that, you can follow the same steps as before to install the CPU. After the CPU is fully seated, carefully lower the contact frame by aligning all 4 holes together and simply screw it in one by one in a crisscross pattern until it's nice and snug. Okay, so we are installing an AMD CPU on the AM4 socket. This means the pins are located behind the CPU, so we have to be extra careful with handling it. First, make sure to inspect the pins to make sure that nothing is bent. Then go ahead and locate the tiny triangle in the corner of the CPU and find that exact same triangle on the CPU socket, because we have to match both triangles together. Using your other hand to simply lift open the lever, slowly lower the CPU with the pins facing down. Make sure you're holding the CPU from its sides. Do not apply any force on top of the CPU because you can easily bend the pins. It should naturally just fall in place. If it doesn't, feel free to wiggle it a little bit so that it does. After the CPU is fully seated, you can slowly lower the lever back down and lock the CPU in place. Okay, so we're installing an AMD CPU on the AM5 socket. In this situation, the pins are on the motherboard socket instead of underneath the CPU. Go ahead and locate the triangle on the CPU itself and find that exact same triangle on the CPU socket cover because we are going to align both of them together. Carefully press and move the lever away, releasing the tension of the bracket, and open the cover. While you're holding the CPU on its sides, gently lower it down onto the socket. Make sure not to apply any pressure or force the CPU down as it can damage the pins on the motherboard. After the CPU is fully seated, you can slowly lower the lever back down and lock the CPU in place. The protective cover should pop right off, but if it doesn't, you can simply remove it. First, release the retention bracket and use the tool to gently loosen all 4 of the screws until you can lift and remove the entire bracket. After that, follow the same steps as listed before to install the CPU carefully. Once the CPU is fully seated, place the contact frame over the CPU and tighten it with the provided tool and the included screws. Do not use the old screws because they are a different size. Okay, so you are one of the very few elite out there to buy a Threadripper CPU. Let's get this baby installed. Obviously, you will need the CPU itself, but you'll also need the install tool that it comes with. It has an orange handle, so you can't miss it. Take your time to gently open the Threadripper box and slide out the CPU. I want you to enjoy this process because it is a very joyous occasion. Make sure not to touch the surface of the CPU or the bottom. Always grab the CPU from the sides. Notice there are numbers on the socket. It indicates the order of opening and closing the socket. So to open the socket, we will have to loosen the screws in this exact order: 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we are now ready to install the CPU. Grab the torque driver and start loosening up the socket in the order indicated. We're going to start from 3, then move over to 2, and finally socket number 1. The socket will spring open, so don't freak out. Go ahead and grab both of the blue tabs on the top and pull them up. We're also going to remove the gray protective piece that's on the socket. Now this part is a little tricky. You have to gently slide in the CPU against the rails, but make sure to do it slowly so that it doesn't derail and pop off the bracket. Here's another angle of the installation. We are starting from the top and slowly sliding the CPU down against the rail. Once the CPU is safely on the bottom, we are ready to lower the CPU down onto the socket. While you're holding down on the blue tabs, lower the entire CPU down until you hear it click. Then we can lower the top bracket. And as you're holding it down, we can tighten the bracket in place by going backwards. Remember we did 3, 2, 1 to open it. Now we're doing 1, 2, 3 to lock it. Make sure to tighten each screw all the way until you hear the tool click. Don't be afraid to use some force until you hear the click. That's it, you officially installed a Threadripper CPU. Congrats. Pretty easy so far.